Well, welcome everyone to our June 5th meeting of the Brentwood Rotary Club. I am your humble president, Sarah Johnson, and I want to thank you all for joining us today. Our invocation this morning was led by Hunter McCarthy, and our pledge and four-way test led by Dale Llewellyn. So Hunter, I'm turning it over to you.
Okay, please pray with me. Oh God, you have bound us together in a common life. Help us in the midst of our struggles for justice and truth to comfort one another without hatred or bitterness and to work together with mutual forbearance and respect. Almighty God, kindle, we pray, in every heart the true love of peace and guide with your wisdom those who take counsel for the nations of the earth, that in tranquility your dominion may increase until the earth is filled with the knowledge of your love. We remember before you those who suffer want and anxiety from lack of work. Guide the people of this land so to use our public and private wealth that all may find suitable and fulfilling employment and receive just payment for their labor. We commend to thy continued care the homes in which thy people dwell. Comfort and relieve your sick servants, and give your power of healing to those who minister to their needs, that those for whom our prayers are offered may be strengthened in their weakness and have confidence in your loving care. We commend to your grace and care in keeping all the men and women of our armed forces at home and abroad. Defend them day by day with your heavenly grace. Strengthen them in their trials and temptations. Give them courage to face the perils which beset them, and grant them a sense of your abiding presence wherever they may be. Give us grateful hearts, our Father, for all thy mercies, and make us mindful of the needs of others. Amen.
Thank you, Hunter. Dale?
All righty. Last week I was an impromptu fill-in, so I wasn't quite prepared. But today I have a flag here, and if you'll all join me now as we do Pledge of Allegiance.
Ooh, why can't I hear?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And the four-way test are the things we think, say, and do. First,
Is it truth?
second,
Is it
Fair
fair?
to all concerned.
third,
Will it build
Goodwill and better friendships.
and fourth.
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Certainly hope so.
Thank you, Dale. We appreciate that. Now I'm going to open up our meeting to our, if we have any guests or visiting Rotarians. I'm going to hold off on our scholarship recipients and let Jim and Charles introduce them and them themselves. So if there's anyone else joining us today that is a guest or a visiting Rotarian.
My guest.
I'm a guest. Oh, somebody's talking.
Oh, I'm a guest, Linda Seeley.
Well, welcome, Linda. And Raju, welcome. We're glad you were able to join us again today.
And this is Lynn.
I'm April Eaton.
Lynn, we're glad that you were able to join us today as well.
Thank you.
I'm April Eaton, and my daughter Amber Robinson. Avery's my son and her brother.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. It's a family Rotary meeting. That's fantastic.
A little bit.
Do we have any others?
Jackie Eaton. I'm the aunt of Avery Robinson.
Welcome, Jackie.
Thank you.
Appreciate you being here as well.
Thank you.
Amber Nelson, who is a school guidance counselor from Overton High School, is also a guest joining us today. Welcome, Amber. Anyone else? Well, all right then. So I'm gonna now open up our meeting for Happy Bucks. Happy Bucks is a time where Rotarians, we are doing a kind of a virtual Happy Buck so that when we do get to meet again in person, we can throw money in the pot or mail it in to, and it's usually $1, mail it in to the club. But we would love for anyone to tell us who's happy today.
I'll start. Earlier this week, my wife and I got the news that we were exposed to somebody who was positive with COVID-19. So we've quarantined ourselves and we had a test done and it came back negative today. So we're in good shape.
That's fantastic. Glad you're okay. Who else is happy?
Well, this is Linda Seeley, and I am very happy today for Avery. He participated in our summer introduction to research programs for 2 summers, and he was truly amazing. And we are so excited for him to win this scholarship and to attend the University of Louisville in engineering and to do great things for us in the future in research.
Thank you, Linda.
I'm happy. You ready? You got me?
We got you, Charles.
I will be happy if whoever's got their television turns way up goes ahead and turns it off. We can really hear it. So anybody who's got the television going on in the background, if you could turn that off, and or Devin, if you could mute everybody. Because right now, all I can hear is that television show.
Yep.
I'm happy. Can you hear me?
We can, Roger.
Barely hear you over Rush Limbaugh.
Well, you turn up your hearing aid, Charles.
It's not me, it's Rush.
I'm happy because it's my birthday.
Yay!
Oh, happy birthday.
Birthday, Roger.
Yay.
All right, I got to jump in. You know, Roger's got a birthday. I got to go public with my birthday.
See you.
Happy birthday, Mark.
Yeah, two guys. We're both
You wanna say hi to
61, so that's what we're at. So good to know.
Well, we can also add Betsy Crossley to the mix because you guys missed my next one. I had all 3 of you down for birthday.
Oh, good. Got to be quicker, President. Got to be quicker.
Happy birthday. Who else is happy?
Okay, I'm happy.
All right. Go, Miss Sherry.
I am so happy that they have lifted the rental restrictions at St. George Island in Apalachicola, Florida, that we have a house in a couple of weeks to go to the beach. Thank goodness. And do some fishing, catch some big fish. So I'm excited. And happy to see everybody's faces.
Great news, Sherry. Who else? Well, all right then. I'm going to now go to our announcements portion and let the club know. Hey, Devin or Linus, are you on? Devin?
I am.
Perfect. That's what I was going to ask you to do is mute all the participants. Thanks, Linus. For our announcement portion, thank you to everybody who replied to our survey about meeting on the 19th and our installation banquet. We really appreciate all the responses, and wanted to let you know that your Rotary board met this morning right before this meeting to kind of make decisions on what the rest of this month looks like in terms of our club. So what we're going to do is on the 12th, we'll still have a Zoom meeting, but starting on the 19th, we have reserved the Granny White Pavilion. We're going to still have a Zoom meeting going, but we will have let's go and call it a trial run in-person meeting at the Granny White Pavilion on the 19th. It will be a little different. There's a max capacity of 50 people, so we're going to have to do a sign up, which we'll start working on sometime this next week for who all would come and who wouldn't come. 60% of the responses we received said that they wanted to have an in-person meeting again. So we're playing trial to see if we can't kind of do a hybrid type of thing. We will be having boxed lunches again per the city's requirements. And part of this, just to let everybody know, the Martin Center is under Metro guidelines, so they are still under phase 2 for reopening, which means they will probably not be reopening until July. So we're kind of trying to work with it and see what we can do for the month of June to get our groups back together. Those of you that are not comfortable meeting in person, we are still having the Zoom, and we would love to have you join us via Zoom as well. Installation banquet. The board has decided that we are going to postpone the installation banquet because Richland is also under the phase 2 for gathering, because it is part of Davidson County. That being said, what we've intended to do as a group is we still want to have the installation ceremony, because there's a lot of synergy and camaraderie when we all get together to issue out the old and bring in the new. So we will be having an installation ceremony on Friday, June 26th. And we're going to actually have our Rotary meeting is going to be, we're going to start at 11. But the actual meeting itself, that means everybody gather by 11. And then at 11:30 till 12:30, there's another event at 1 o'clock at Granny White Pavilion. So we're moving up the time so we can make sure we're in and out within that time period. It does also have a 50-person capacity, and the pavilion has been set up so that there is social distancing between everybody that's meeting. In that, we will also be doing an RSVP for that as well. So if you can attend, we'd love for you to attend. If you're not comfortable attending, that will be broadcast on Zoom as well, so that everybody has an opportunity to welcome Keely and say, nice knowing you, Sarah. Well, I won't leave. I'm still around. So that is that. The Community Grants Committee has decided that we are postponing the community grants meeting because of the social distancing right now until August 21st. But they wanted to make sure that the small community grants were sent out to the people who need them, especially in this time. So they're asking all the sponsors of a award recipient to take the check. Lewis is going to mail the checks to that sponsor, take the check to the recipient, and actually hand it to them if they're comfortable. If they're not, let Lewis know, and Lewis and his committee will make sure that's done. I'm actually also asking for any of the sponsors that when you do give the check to take a quick photo. Have someone at the organization snap your picture, things of that nature. Even if you're a mask, masks are good. It shows the message. So I ask that we go ahead and support everyone, and then we'll bring back together to celebrate on the 21st. With that, I am going to turn our meeting over to Jim Ryan, who is going to introduce our program. Jim?
All right, Sarah, thank you very much. I appreciate you all being here to celebrate our scholarship winners. Let me just say, I'm going to turn this over to Charles in just a minute because he does such a great job talking about and interviewing our scholarship recipients. But I will tell you that as the chairperson of the scholarship committee, it's always an easy task because the committee is so good, and I really mean that. The other thing that's made it easier, I think, as the years have gone on, is the technology. The technology of actually being able to send the applications and the supporting materials and everything electronically, that has really worked out well, and we were able to do it despite the fact that we weren't meeting in person. So that worked out well. I want to give a special thanks to a couple people who met just in regard to the selection process a couple times. Mike Walker, Dale Llewellyn, Michael King, Patrick Wright, Sheila Cleveland. There might be a couple I'm missing, but I appreciate those people very much. Sheila and Mike Walker and Roger Wheelwright also serve as the liaisons to the 3 different schools as their point of contact, so thank you for that. It really was a team effort. So speaking of the selection process, once again, we had 19 committee members. All right, it really works to our advantage because we split that up into 3 subcommittees, and each committee evaluates one of the schools. And it was a record year. You might have known that we had 37 completed applications among the 3 schools this year. That's a record for as long as I've been around anyway. But the thing is, it's not just the quantity of the applications. As in past years, the quality is just outstanding, right? We had many students with long lists of extracurricular activities, work activities, special academic achievements and awards, you know, highest ranking students in their class. These selections, as you guys know if you've been around, are not easy, okay? The recipients we selected beat out some really quality competition. So you guys that are on the call that won, you should really know that the people that you beat out were great. So that means you're great, all right? All right, so with that said, I'll just introduce by name our 3 winners from this year and our Interact presidents, but I'm gonna turn the rest of it over to Charles. So maybe you can give a virtual clapping of the hands. You guys know how to do the reactions. You see my screen right here, I'm clapping the hands. So from Brentwood High School, okay, our Brentwood High School winner was Avery Robinson. He's Carlton Avery Robinson. You can wave, Avery, give him a wave. There you go. All right, and from Ravenwood High School, we had Sona Davis. So let's say hi to Sona. Okay, you can clap for her. All right, and then Jonathan Peng was our winner from Overton High School. At the last minute, he had something that came up, a personal issue that caused him to cancel from today. Okay, so he's not on the call. And then finally, in addition, we have 2 Interact Scholarship Awards. They're one-time $1,000 scholarships, as you know, to the presidents of the Brentwood and Overton Interact clubs. So I want to say thank you to those 2 for your service and upholding the principles of service above self. And our Overton winner was Sasveen Sharanchi. I don't know if she was going to be on the call. I don't know if she made it on. Sasveen or Susie, are you here? I don't know if maybe she can wave if she's here. I don't know. Charles will find out if she's here. And then Brentwood's Interact president, I know, is probably not present on the call, and that was Asher Tabor. But congratulations to those 2 as well for helping out with the Rotary Club Interact clubs, okay? So that's all for me. You guys know that Charles does a great job in finding out a little bit more about our students. So Charles, I'm going to turn it over to you, although I don't see you in your screen. I hope you're there. Charles?
Hi. I don't know about you, but I've had a lot of time on my hands to learn a new hobby. I picked up piano. 2 months, pretty good, huh? Okay, well, let's get started. Thanks for joining us for the 2020 Brentwood Rotary Scholarship Program. We're going to spend some time getting to know these great kids, seeing their amazing accomplishments, and having a good time. We'll, of course, talk with our newest winners and visit with some of our past winners, too. Now, a lot of you have spent a lot of time, like I have, on Zoom or Skype or whatever, and there's been some accidents on these platforms. So the students and I work very closely to make sure that we get it all right, no goofs, no gaps. Let's see how we do. What my family is up to. Hi, girls. Yeah. Like a lot of parents, I've been worried about whether or not my kids are making good use of their extra free time. I can see that my daughter Sophie and her friend Piper are reading some excellent books, classic literature. Excellent. Well done, girls. And we're very lucky to have a nanny this year, Kendall Jones, who's watching over the girls to make sure that they're doing all the right things and keeping them on task. Thanks, Kendall. All right. Well, thanks, Andrew, for your help. If you wouldn't mind, I'm going to be here for about 20 more minutes if you could just stay out of the kitchen. All right. Okay, let's get to, now how do I turn this around to me? Oh, here we go. There's the button.
All right. Okay. Let's get to our students. The first one today is Avery Robinson. Avery, are you out there?
Yep, right here.
All right. I got to get over to where I can see you, Avery. There we go. There's Avery.
Yep.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us, Avery. You ready to go?
Yeah, I'm good to go.
Perfect. Avery, you are this year's winner from Brentwood High School. Tell us a little bit about how you spent your time at Brentwood High School.
So I did marching band all 4 years in the fall, and I did winter drumline all 4 years in the winter. And I played marimba, which is like a very large xylophone. And then I took classes like computer science, obviously like biology, auto coding, which allowed me to like code or build autonomous car basically from scratch. That was really cool. So that's what I've been doing at Brentwood.
All right, excellent. And what's next for you?
Well, I'm going to University of Louisville to study bioengineering. So I did the internship program at Vanderbilt, and that taught me a lot. I got to do cancer research. Taught me a lot about the field. I got to do like research, and taught me like things that I can't remember. An experiment that happened 3 weeks ago, like at all. So it taught me like that I need to take notes on everything, and it allowed me to choose that I wanted to do bioengineering. And I also feel that, like it's where the future is kind of headed. You got biology, which is health and life, and then you got engineering, and kind of the combination of both. I feel like there's a lot that can be done there that can help the world.
Okay, excellent. Avery, we've all spent some time in quarantine, and most of us have at least one or two good quarantine stories. Do you have a good quarantine story for us today?
Yeah, I mean, kind of the whole way through, me and my friends, we like to play video games a lot. So, this is, we got quarantined. We were like, no problem. We've done this before. So we've just been hanging out with each other, playing games for a while. We have actually gotten a little burned out, which is surprising. So, it's getting a little rough there, but we're gonna stay here in quarantine, stay safe.
So we actually have found the limit of teenage boys' interest in playing video games. There is a limit.
Exactly. Yep.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear there's a limit. All right, that's fantastic. Okay, great. Avery, I really appreciate your time. I know there's a lot more going on with you, a lot more we'd love to hear about. Unfortunately, we got to talk to 6 more kids. So thank you, congratulations, well done, and we look forward to hearing updates from you as the years go on.
Of course, thank you for this scholarship opportunity.
Thanks, Avery. All right, how about we move on to Sona Davis. Where's Sona? She's coming.
Hi. Hello.
All right, there's Sona. Sona's in Paris.
I'm
Fantastic.
in Paris.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thanks for making time.
flight
It must
tickets-
be like 8 a.m. over there. So
Yeah, I'm up early.
Yeah. Thanks for getting up early.
Yeah.
All right, great. So Sona, you are this year's Ravenwood High School winner. Tell us a little bit about your high school career.
Yeah, so throughout the 4 years, I was really involved with student council. And this past year, I had the privilege to serve as the student body president at Ravenwood, which was a lot of fun. And then outside of academics, of course, took all my science classes, was very involved in the science world. But outside of school, I was very active with volunteering. That's a huge thing for me. So I was lucky enough to volunteer at Vanderbilt's Children's Hospital, which was an extremely transformative experience for me. And a lot of my time was spent there or volunteering in other places. But yeah, that was most of my time at Ravenwood, yeah.
Okay, great. And what's next for you?
I am going to Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm going to be studying well, my major is neuroscience and behavioral biology, which basically just means that I'm going to be doing what I need to, getting the classes I need in order to go to medical school, hopefully one day. So yeah.
Fantastic. What kind of doctor do you want to be?
I want to go into pediatrics. I'm not sure past then. I think in a hospital setting is where I see myself, maybe the emergency department, something like that. So I don't have it all planned out yet, but.
Nobody does. Anyone who says they know what they do are lying. Good for you. So tell us a story, something fun from your high school career.
I know I might make some enemies of this. I know there's Brentwood people here, but I am a Ravenwood person, and I think the most memorable experience I had at Ravenwood was a Battle of the Woods game for basketball against Brentwood my freshman year, and I still haven't forgotten it. It was double overtime. There were half-court shots. It was so much fun, and I just remember being in that sea of red and just feeling so proud when we won, and I got to run onto the court with everybody. It was awesome. I will never forget that.
Yeah. So we're a Brentwood household, so I don't like you anymore. But
I'm sorry.
I'm glad you got to enjoy that game. Good. So you've spent some quarantine time like the rest of us. Give us a quarantine story.
I mean, other than traveling to Paris, because you know the flight tickets are super cheap right now. I don't want to embarrass my mom; she's here, but we've taken it into our own hands for entertainment. We've been looking up different dances on YouTube, you know, and doing like dance classes and stuff like that. So we've done our Bollywood dancing, we've done our hip hop, you know, and that's been fun for us to do together. But it's something I would have never done before, so it was a good time.
That's great. You're very lucky this is not in person because you definitely would have the Bollywood dance if it was.
I'm so happy I don't have to dance.
All right. Well, that's great. Again, I know there's so much more to you than we could capture in 4 minutes, but 4 minutes is what we got. Thank you so much for talking to us. Congratulations. And best of luck to the future. We can't wait to see you next year and hear how your first year of college went.
Thank you so much for having me and for this opportunity. I'm very
Absolutely. Thanks, Sona. All right.
Thank you.
So as Jim told us, Jonathan Pang, our Overton winner, unfortunately is not able to be with us. However, we do have Sue Speen, or we're supposed to have Sue Speen. Did she end up showing up, Jim or Devin?
I don't think I've seen her. I've been looking. Devin, have you seen Sue Speen?
Yeah, these things happen. I just spoke with her yesterday, so I know she absolutely intended to be here. So something must have happened.
I checked my email to see if she, had a wrong link or something like that, and I didn't see anything. So okay.
Okay. All right. Well, maybe we'll see her next year. Okay. Well, let's move on then. Asher Tabor was our Interact president from Brentwood High School. He couldn't be here. However, going back to previous years, we are lucky enough to have Adele Brothers. Adele, are you with us?
Yes, I'm right here.
There's Adele. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
And you have a friend.
I do.
Hello. That's great. What's your friend's name?
My friend's name is Rudy.
Rudy. Hi, Rudy. Let's see if you can control Rudy for the next 4 minutes. Okay, so you were our Brentwood High School winner from 2019. So what are you doing now?
Now, we're on quarantine, but my freshman year.
And you go to Lipscomb University.
Right. I go to Lipscomb University.
Great.
Which was so fun to stay in Nashville. I got to show a lot of people who aren't from Nashville around Nashville. And I figured out my major, which is so great. My major is graphic design with business as a major minor. And I joined a social club. So
nice.
There's a couple things about my year.
Excellent. Good. And we have a lot of Lipscomb grads, so they're probably going to want to know which social club.
Oh, okay. I'm in Phi Sigma. I don't know if anybody.
That means nothing to me, but I guarantee you there's someone in the crowd just went, "Yay, I like you more. I don't like you at all." Yeah. All right, good. Well, congratulations on that. So where does the graphic design degree take you to one day? What are you going to do with it?
I'm actually just about to start a job with the College of Business at Lipscomb, working sort of like as an intern, making some like brochures and weekly web page kind of like update. But that's kind of leading me into I want to start my own business. with a mission in mind. I'm not really sure exactly what yet, but definitely my own business.
Okay. Okay, good, good. So let's hear a story from Lipscomb University, something that happened to you in your first year that sheds a little light on your experience.
Yeah, this semester actually that got cut short, which is so sad. I was able to take a class with the Tennessee Prison for Women, and we took communication. So I was in there with some girls from Lipscomb, and then there are some ladies at the prison who are going to get their degree with Lipscomb. So we were all giving speeches about our lives, and it was just very impactful, and especially hit home with the time we're living in. Hear stories from all kinds of people with all kinds of pasts. So that was really just a cool opportunity.
So you clawed your way out of the bubble, is that what you're saying?
I made it out of the bubble, 45 minutes away on the interstate.
Oh my gosh, is there anything out 45 minutes from the bubble? I was not aware of that.
I know.
There it is. Okay. All right. Congratulations on getting out of the bubble. So how about a quarantine story? Tell us something that happened to you while you've been in quarantine.
Yeah. Well, I've actually gotten over my fear of FaceTime. So all of our classes are moved to Zoom, and it was really fun to have that be more of a normal thing, because before I really dreaded FaceTime. But I've been forced out of that, and now I like FaceTiming my friends, and it was fun to be able to talk to my teachers over Zoom.
Nice. Good. All right. Excellent. Okay. Well, I think again, I wish we had more time with every student, but I really appreciate being here, Adele. Congratulations on your success at Lipscomb, and we look forward to hearing what happens next year.
Thank you. I'm so grateful to be here.
All right. Thanks, Adele.
Thank you.
Okay. How about Andrea? Andrea Huang. There she is. Hi, Andrea. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I didn't quite get Xander on camera there, but Andrea's little sister was friends with Xander, but we didn't quite get them together. Andrea won last year from Ravenwood. Were you at the game, the Sea of Red game that she was talking about? She was a freshman, so you would have been a sophomore.
I don't think I actually was.
Oh,
unfortunately,
it was the moment of her. It was the defining moment of her whole high school career, and you weren't there.
I missed it.
All right, that's okay. Okay, so now you go to Columbia University. Tell us a little bit about your first year at Columbia University.
So I really enjoyed my first year. It was a lot of fun, especially being in New York and stuff. And so one thing that Columbia does is, like, most people don't have classes on Friday, so every weekend's kind of like a 3-day weekend. Not that we don't have a lot of homework, and a lot of our weekend is spent working, but having that extra time means I have a lot of time to, like, go out and, like, see new things every single weekend, have time to spend with my friends, get 8 hours of sleep, which I didn't do in high school a lot, but surprisingly did consistently in college. So yeah.
Yeah, that's great. What are some of the things that you got to see out of New York City?
So this actually, Charles, when we called yesterday, I didn't think about this, but one of the things I really enjoy doing when I go to a new city is walking around into fancy hotel lobbies. This is great to do in Nashville because, like, the Hermitage Hotel, all these different things. But one really good memory I have of New York is, like, going hotel hopping, as I like to call it, to all these fancy hotels, just walking around. Doesn't cost any money, so it's great for college students. But yeah, I have a really good memory of doing that with my friends.
Nice. Did you go to the Plaza? Surely you went to the Plaza.
I did.
Yeah.
For Eloise moment.
Yeah, exactly. You got to do the. We love to go and do the Eloise thing at the Plaza. That's fantastic. That sounds like great fun. So, what is your major at Columbia?
I'm studying computer science.
Okay.
I came in wanting to study sustainable development, but I looked at the intro classes, wasn't super into it, so I switched into something I do enjoy.
Okay, great. And what about what do you want to do with computer programming?
I'm not really sure at the moment, but right now over the summer I have, like, a little remote job with robotics, and so I'm working at a company that's building robots that clean skyscraper windows, which I think is extremely cool. And so I'm learning a lot about that at the moment, and so I think I might like to continue with that, but there's a lot to do, so I'm not quite sure yet.
So are you programming the robots to clean windows?
Yeah, like how the motors function and stuff.
Oh, wow. That seems dangerous. If you don't like remind them to hang on, they could fall down.
Yeah, exactly. So a little bit, but they're shipping me like tiny ones, which is really nice. And so I'll get to like make sure they work on a small scale
Yeah,
at home before they do that.
that's really cool. Wow, that's funny. Great. Okay, so tell us a story. Tell us something that happened to you at Columbia that we can learn from.
Yeah, so I think, you know, the stuff you learn in the classroom is very important, but there's also a lot you can learn from your friends, your peers. And so I think the best thing I learned last semester was like basically working out is really fun and I enjoy it. So I have a friend who works out like 2 hours every single day, hasn't had sugar since sophomore year of high school, takes great care of his body overall, just, you know, does that really well. And so a friend of mine named Sophia and I don't exercise that much, but he was like, you should come exercise with me. And we're like, yeah, we'll find out what you do with all your time all the time. And so we started doing that second semester. And one thing that like, I've always been kind of scared of muscles and stuff. Like when I go to gyms and see people picking, like really going at it, it looks like they're about to pop or like their bones are about to break or something. And so not like, always have been very intimidated by that. But, you know, once I started doing it, I've been like weightlifting for about like 2 months and stuff at college. Since getting home, haven't really done it that much, but I've learned that, you know, my body is actually really capable of doing things. I can pick up my own weight in a deadlift. I can like do all these different things that I didn't think I was able to do. And I know that I'm not going to pop and I will be okay. And I can push myself in that way.
Nice. That sounds great. So are you on your way to like serious bodybuilding? Are we going somewhere with this?
Yeah, Charles, actually, I have this picture. This is my warm up when I go pick up groceries, you know, just gotta be
nice.
safe. You know, take care of your body.
Yeah. And you went from hardly being able to pick up anything to that.
Exactly.
Wow. In just 2 months. Well done. All right. Good for you. So how about a quarantine story? How have you been spending your time in quarantine?
So I guess this is kind of along the lines of like what Avery was talking about with being able to see your friends and stuff. And I think like most people who are in college, people who will be in college later on, you know, you'll make a lot of friends who are in different places. And so my close friends we're almost all in different time zones. We have East Coast, West Coast, me in the middle, another in Dubai, one in Taiwan. And so it's a little bit hard to coordinate, like being able to see them and stuff, but we've still been able to consistently call every weekend and like arrange that. So it's really nice just to be able to like see everyone, even though we are so far apart.
So I feel like a hierarchy is going to emerge, because if you have a friend in Dubai and Taiwan, much less, you know, Eastern and Western, somebody's doing this in the middle of the night. How do you figure out who the chump is? Who has to do it in the middle of the night?
So usually it's East Coast that has to do it latest.
Yeah.
Because West Coast, like my friend on the West Coast, it's like 9 p.m. for him at midnight in the East Coast.
Okay.
And then my friend in Dubai has to wake up early, like at like 8 a.m. So, but yeah, usually for me, it's pretty good.
Yeah, that's, hey,
I'm lucky.
Live in the central time zone and you get to be in the middle. That's so 8 a.m. is the worst. What time is it in Taiwan when it's 8 a.m. in Dubai?
It's like noon.
Oh,
so
okay.
not bad actually. Taiwan's
It actually works out. So the worst is someone's at midnight and they're probably awake anyway. And 8 a.m. that's probably is the worst one, and that could be worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. All right. So let's see. That's everything. And actually, I remember when we spoke yesterday, you referred to those as rug chats, which I really liked, because I guess at school.
Yeah, at school we would like Friday or Saturday, like one day of the weekend, we would all get together on one of my friends' rugs, and we would like just tell each other stories, catch up, talk really late into the night. But,
yeah. So is it a rule that you have to be on a rug on your Zoom chat, or have you not gone that far?
I actually don't have a rug, so we don't stick by that rule.
All right, fair enough.
In spirit.
Okay.
In spirit.
Yeah, in spirit. Great. Well, thank you so much for talking with us. It was great to catch up with you, and we look forward to hearing what happens next year.
Yeah, it's wonderful to see everyone. Thank you guys so much for all you do.
Thanks. Okay. Now, how about Brooke Bixler? Where's Brooke? Brooke is going to come up here in a second. Now, poor Brooke, due to a miscommunication, I just barely got to talk to Brooke ahead of this. Let's see. She's going to come up.
I'm right here.
There you go. There. Brooke's the one at 8 a.m. She's like drinking the coffee. Great, Brooke. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for being willing to do this on relatively short notice, short amount of preparation. It looks like you are at a coffee house drinking coffee.
Yes, this is one of my favorite coffee shops in Knoxville, Awaken, which I spent way too much time and money here.
Yeah, that's okay. That sounds great. Okay, great. So Brooke is the Overton 2019 winner, and as you mentioned, you're obviously going to school in Knoxville. So go Vols. Well done.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what happened in college your first year.
Yeah, so I was coming into college. I was very set on my major, computer science. And then in the first 2 weeks, I switched my major, which was very unexpected for me. So actually UT added a new major called information sciences that I didn't know that they had, and it actually fit exactly what I wanted perfectly. So it's information sciences, user design experience. So my first semester, I took all of my computer science classes, and those all carried over to my new major. So I get to focus a little bit more on using computer programming on a more human interactive level. So that really was a great way of combining. And then another thing I was a part of was I lived on campus, and so I was a part of my hall council. So I was on the marketing team. So I made all the posters and would promote the different events we were doing in our dorm.
Okay, excellent. And what are you going to do with, what did you call it, information systems?
Information sciences.
Sciences. What do
Yeah.
you see yourself doing in 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, so I would really love to be able to work in healthcare and look at how doctors see software, patients, nurses, and be able to enhance their experience and how they use it. So basically would read and watch how they use the systems, and then tell the programmers how we can improve and make it better for everybody.
Yeah, great. That sounds great. Do you have a story, an illuminating story from your first year of college you want to share with us?
Yeah, actually, it's along the lines of my major. So it's really cool because it's a new major. There's only like 6 of us in the major so far, but we had this woman who was going to come actually in, but had to do it via Zoom because quarantine had just been starting. But she works at Netflix and had previously worked at Instagram doing information sciences, which was really, really cool. I had never thought about it in there, but basically what she does is she looks for Netflix. She works on the captions on movies, and then also the functions they have for those who are hearing impaired, and make sure that the captions are translated properly for between the different languages, that everything's being communicated, and that those are hearing impaired get the full experience of the show. And so she does a lot of usability testing. And so, yeah, I just thought that was a really cool experience to see just how many different ways you could go with the major that I have.
Yeah, I have found that a lot of people watch Netflix with the subtitles on, even if they're not hearing impaired.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm glad somebody's making sure to get those right, because I think a lot of people use those for a variety of reasons. How about a quarantine story? I bet you've got a quarantine story.
Yeah, so my extended family and I were really close. They live up in Cleveland, Ohio. And so we've been coordinating a lot of game nights. We did some online Settlers of Catan. We did some code names. And then we have Zoom calls just to share, you know, how God has been working in our lives. And my grandparents, because we were quarantined, no one could help them get on the Zoom call. So we spent the first, I want to say, hour trying for them to figure out. So maybe 30 minutes, we saw my grandpa's ear on the picture because he was holding it up like a phone. And so we just saw his ear as we were talking. But we finally got it to work and we were able to talk. So
I think that's amazing. My dad is completely hopeless with technology. He never would have gotten past I can't believe you got him to install the software.
Oh, yes.
That alone is amazing.
It was a long phone call to try to get it all to work.
I'll bet it was. Yeah, I'll bet it was. Good for you. Okay, great. Yeah, I guess that's it. So thank you, Brooke. Thank you for being patient with the short notice on developing your talk. Thank you. Enjoy your coffee house experience in UT Knoxville, and we'll look forward to hearing what happens in the next year.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm very grateful.
Absolutely. All right. Where's Hannah Armistead?
Wait.
She's coming. There she is. Hey, there's Hannah. Yes. Okay, great. Thank you very much for being patient. Hannah's our last one, so she had to wait a while. Hannah was our 2018 winner from Brentwood High School, Were you at the Battle of the Woods game, the basketball game at Ravenwood that year?
I want to say that I was, and I want to say I might have cried afterwards. I feel like I was also on student council, and I was very involved. I ran all the pep rallies. I did all of that stuff. So I think I was pretty upset after that game.
I can understand. See, you made her cry. Do you hear that? Oh, look out. We got someone in behind. So you are at Yale studying cognitive science.
Yes.
And tell us about life at Yale.
Yeah. So like you said, I just declared my major this year. I'm studying cognitive science, and that's a pretty broad major with kind of 6 like subcategories. So those are neuroscience, economics, philosophy, computer science, economics, and linguistics. And along that track, I had to kind of declare my depth is what they call it. And so I'm going to be studying behavioral economics for the rest of my time, which also sounds really confusing, but basically just the study of like human decision making and kind of why people act the way they do. And so I think one of your other questions was where I see myself going in the next few years.
Yes.
And I did just finish my sophomore year, so I'm not 100% sure what that's going to look like. But I have been told by many advisors, and I also kind of believe myself, that if you have an idea of how people work, you can kind of get employed anywhere, figure stuff out later on. So crossing my fingers that is true. But yeah, that's kind of the academic life I've had so far.
Good. So tell us a story about your life at Yale. Something fun, something funny, something moving. What do you got?
Okay. Everyone else's were really very cool and academic, and mine is like not at all. So here goes. But on Halloween this past year, my dorm is actually on the way to like the club that people go to for like, parties and like dancing or whatever. I was never super into that, but that's what people do. And so Halloween fell on a Wednesday, which happens to be like the biggest day of the week for this club to be open. So me and my 2 best friends decided to project a movie on the like old beautiful library at Yale called the Banquet, and it houses like everything that Yale owns from before the year 1800. So there's a Gutenberg Bible, the pen that Abraham Lincoln used to sign the Emancipation Proclamation is in there. It has all sorts of really cool documents and is like very revered among Yale students. So it's kind of a joke that we projected Shrek onto the Banquet Library the night of Halloween, so everyone walking by would see Shrek. So that was a really fun memory.
Yeah, that's great. How about a quarantine story? Tell us a little bit about your life in quarantine.
Yeah, so this is interesting enough, I guess. I am a cheerleader. And so before spring break, we were planning to go to March Madness with the Yale men's basketball team. And so I was supposed to actually go home for like 3 days and then fly immediately back to New Haven to be ready to go to March Madness. Unfortunately, my second day at home, we found out that I would not be returning to school at all. So I had packed in my little carry-on my laptop, all my notebooks, because of course I still had homework over spring break, and then like a piece of underwear and 2 t-shirts, and that's all I had brought home for the entire last 3 months that I've been living at home. So I've been wearing my dad's clothes, my mom's clothes, my sister's clothes. I've been wearing everyone's clothes. But moral of the story that's very exciting is actually 2 days from now, I finally get to drive the 15 hours back up to Connecticut to pick up all of my things and pack out all my stuff. So that was kind of rough living with my family's clothing, but we've made do.
Yeah, wow, you're driving 15 hours just to get, please tell me you're going to do a few fun things up there before you turn around and drive 15 hours back.
I hope so. I think I might get to see a few friends, which would be fun, but they're staggering it so that everyone isn't there at the same time.
Right.
And I have a 2-hour window that I get to pack up my entire room. So it's going to be a drive, spend the night in New Haven, real quick, pack up in the morning, maybe see a few people and kind of drive back.
Yeah. Wow, that's a long drive.
Yeah.
That's a long drive. Good for you. All right, great. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate
you guys.
your time.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming back and telling us about your time at Yale.
Totally.
And we're done. So thank you, all of you students. Congratulations. We know you all are extraordinary students, and we're very proud to be associated with you, to be a small part of your success story. So keep it up. Come back and visit us next year, and let's do this again, hopefully in person.
Thank you all so much. Y'all are just amazing. Every single one of you. And you show a bright light or you shine a bright light in a otherwise bleak kind of world we're in right now. So thank you guys. You're just a wondering. You're amazing. With that, we are up on 1 o'clock. Jim, I'm going to ask you either in the next meeting or the following meeting to update us on our 2016 students, just so that we can all hear what's going on. As well as I want to thank you all for being a part of our Zoom meeting today. And if there's nothing else for the good of Rotary, my bell is back. We're adjourned. Thank you.
Thanks.
All the families who came too. Thank you.